Hiring software is rejecting qualified candidates. About 3 weeks ago, I did a video, guys, on how now is the perfect time to be changing jobs or looking to move up within your job because employers are desperate right now. They're short staffed all over the place and they're having a hard time filling positions. So much so that they're offering bonuses and all kinds of incentives to try and get people, get qualified candidates in place. All right, well, what you might not know is the irony is that some of this is a self-inflicted wound, at least according to a study that was done by Harvard Business Law. Most companies use recruiting software to vet candidates, right? Well, that software is weeding out as much as 88% of qualified candidates. So no wonder they can't get enough people in the door. In fact, I was just chatting with a friend of mine about this very situation just the other day. And it's gotten actually a lot of press over the last 3 weeks because it's not just a problem here in the States, it's an international problem. As much as 90% of all companies, I believe the thing said actually about 75% of the companies in the US use this software, and 99% of the Fortune 500 companies use the same or similar software. So the question is, why? Why is the AI in this software, in recruiting management software and applicant tracking systems, or whatever the company might be using, why is it rejecting people that not only are qualified, but are extremely qualified? Some people with years and years of experience. People that you would be lucky to get normally. Well, for starters, a lot of this software automatically weeds out people because of gaps in employment history. Even those that have a legitimate reason. In fact, some of them you don't even get the opportunity to explain the reason for gaps in your employment history. Gaps like, I don't know, the big one recently has been COVID for everybody, right? Places had to lay off and shut down, and so or you just might have been a victim of a recession, but there's no way in a lot of this software to account for that. It could be a lack of experience with recent systems or recent advancements in technology. And the reason for that is because hiring managers are just using old and outdated job descriptions in these things. I'm going to take out some of these zombies before I go down into that well. They're using old and outdated job descriptions and just kind of tacking on, just bolting on any new requirements without sorting through stuff and everything else. For instance, one I read about was for nurses in particular. Weeding them out because of a lack of programming skills when all that they really need is to be able to enter patient data into a computer system. How's that for hilarious at a time when we're having a health crisis? The other thing that's happening is the software is rejecting people just because they lack criteria that were originally intended just as, oh, these are nice to have qualities in someone, rather than, out and out absolute necessities for whatever job that they're filling. And among some of the other reasons, there's quite a few, but one of the other reasons, big ones that kept coming up, was the systems, the AI that's being used can't discern soft skills that might replace or make up for lack of hard experience. By that I mean things that you would get from real world circumstances that don't necessarily translate into paper. For instance, some of the things that might allow you in college to skip out of a few classes because, you're a grown adult and have already, had plenty of experience, in theory at least, with things like civilization, history, other things that would normally be, basic requirements for things. Okay, I digress. Yeah, so when I was looking up, I was trying to come up with solutions, guys, because I'm very much a solution-oriented individual, okay? This is a screw-up on the part of the companies. What can a prospective job seeker do to kind of eliminate or make up for some of this? Well, sadly, most of the talk that I was finding actually had to do with hiring managers and how they can address it, how they can switch over from weeding out based on negative criteria to focused on trying to vet based on positive criteria and whatnot. But that doesn't help Mr. John Q. Average on the street when he is trying to find a job to feed his family. So what can you do? Well, man, there is not a lot of information out there. So first of all, some people were just out and out lying or working to game the system in some of the Reddit threads and everything else that I went through. Yes, I did a lot of homework. I even resorted to Reddit to try and find something to offer people. I don't advise lying. That tends to come back and bite you in the ass, okay? No matter how you slice it. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do, but I was hoping to give you something else. In my search, there was a suggestion of using some of the resume companies, things of that nature, but largely they do what you can already do yourself. Mostly they work to fix flaws and gaps in your resume. Well, you can do all that stuff, formatting, everything else. The information's out there for free without having to pay somebody to allow you to tweak your resume if you want to go that route. The best solutions that we came up with, and there was 3, and they are old school solutions. I almost was tempted to say the boomer solutions, because a lot of people make fun of boomers. They're like, oh yeah, I dare you to try and find a job using all the advice that you give me. Okay, well, this is one time where it might not be bad advice. The advice was to do what you can to completely circumvent the automated systems. Try to get a hold of a real person, basically. One of the ways that was suggested was emailing the hiring manager direct. Instead of going through the software, email the hiring manager yourself. That's one thing. Might not always be an option. Another option is, hold on just a second, got Mr. Bungholio here trying to kill me while I'm giving out golden advice. Alright, Twitchy. Leave me alone. Can't you see him talking? Alright. Another option is to personally hand deliver your resume. Now, that only works if you're applying locally, right? If you're applying out of state for perhaps a higher salary job or a less, I don't know, a less readily available job, something of that nature, well, then it might not exactly be cost effective to travel and try and hand deliver that resume. The last bit of advice was friend of a friend. Who do you know that might know somebody that works wherever it is that you're trying to apply, that you can have put in a good word for you? They can maybe go through and either bump your resume and application back into the system, bring it to somebody's attention who actually matters and can do something about it. Those are the 3 most solid bits of advice that I found. So I'm going to put a plea out to you guys. If you guys know of a better way, a way that I didn't mention, to help people get a leg up and get in the door as far as trying to get with somebody that actually makes decisions, especially in a case when they are qualified but being weeded out due to a software glitch, then please put those in the comments below this video on YouTube, or take a moment and email them to me so that I can do a follow-up video and share it with people, because this is a big deal. Right now in this country, we've got a lot of people out of work. We've got as many as 27 million hidden workers right now, people that are qualified that can't get into the job that they're qualified to do. So they're having to do some sort of stopgap work in the meantime just to try and make ends meet. You could really be helping a lot of folks.